It's been a devastating couple weeks here in Southern California as fires have raged once again. It's a familiar refrain for those of us in the region. Dry conditions and the sand and winds combine to create a critical fire danger. Thankfully, my home isn't in danger, but I can empathize with the situation so many of my fellow Southern Californians are in right now. Just a few years ago, at a previous home, I was in evacuation zone for the Big Jim fire and next to line to leave in a nearby evacuation zone before the firefighters got the situation under control. Another time, just recently in August, I was up in Big Bear filming another video for one of my other companies when ash started to rain down, and soon after, a wall of smoke blew from the forest. A massive wall came through, and I knew it was time to pack up and get the heck out of there. Now, I share these stories because I know how terrifying it was for me in those moments, so I can't imagine what the folks who have lost their homes are going through right now. But like I said, it's familiar refrain for those of us in this area. The reality of this is that there are going to be more fires and more destructions. It's not a matter of if, might, or maybe, it's when and where. And the numbers are staggering. According to Cal Fire, the Palisades and the Eaton fires are already two of history's top 4 most destructive California wildfires, with more than 40,000 acres have burned, with more than 120 fires confirmed. And the Eaton fire is already the 11th deadliest California wildfire in history. Now, from an economic standpoint, according to AccuWeather, these wildfires are already the 4th most expensive natural disaster in recent history. But the immediate threat of fires and the loss that the folks have suffered are only part of the equation. The destruction of the fires is certainly the short-term issue, but a long-term issue that will affect this area for years and years is the state of the real estate market. As you know, I'm in the real estate industry right here in Southern California, and as an agent, my biggest concern is with the people suffering through this horrible tragedy. It's not just the people who have lost everything, but also, when you think about it, those who will suffer in the aftermath of these fires. And it doesn't take a real estate license to know that LA and Southern California market was already very expensive and quite competitive. Unfortunately, both victims of these wildfires and others planning to move into the area, these things are about to get even more expensive and even more competitive. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. Thousands of structures have already been lost. The fires are still raging. All the homes had occupants, people who are now looking for new places to live. Now, with limited inventory and sky-high prices in many areas in Southern California, the folks displaced by the fires are really competing against one another for new homes. And as we all know, when there's high demand and low inventory, prices are going one direction, and that's up, and up. And this problem isn't just an issue with people looking to buy a home, it's a problem with rental properties as well. And now, I've heard situations up in LA where rent prices are skyrocketing. Geez, just a moment ago before turning on the cameras for this here, I read a news article talking about landlords charging 124% over what they had been. That is, as people are trying to find a place to start rebuilding their lives. In some cases, friends, dozens of interested parties might try to rent the same house. So competition is absolutely fierce. And because of that competition, some people are offering to pay huge rent prices and pay rent 6 or 12 months in advance just to try to get a competitive leg on the competition. It's wild to say the least. Of course, properties for sale have seen increased interest since the fires started raging here. Now, listings are getting thousands and thousands of views. There are an absolute tons of in-person showings, multiple offers. If you're a seller or a landlord, you couldn't ask for a better situation. Unfortunately, their gains come at incredible losses that others have suffered because of these fires. Now, you might be wondering why there is such a frenzy in the real estate market. It stands to reason that some of the people displaced by the fire would want to go somewhere else. Believe me, if I lost everything in a fire, I'd be one of those folks putting some serious stock into looking at a completely different place to live. And for some people, that is the reality. I watched news clips just the other day from Las Vegas on news that discuss how the current fire situation in LA that could lead to an uptick in people looking to move out to Las Vegas area. And this makes a lot of sense. Vegas really isn't that far away. It's 3 to 4 hours. It's cheaper than LA, and there are more homes to buy and rent at the moment. And if there's an influx of people from LA to Las Vegas, though, the real estate market there could experience the same pain points. So for example, as more and more people get their insurance payouts from the fire, more of them will potentially be looking for places to rent and buy in Las Vegas area, and heck, all the way in between there. This in turn could cause a very similar situation there as it is here. Rapid increase in rental rates, increased competition for limited inventory of homes for sale. But picking up and moving to another city or state is easier said than done. Here's something I noticed as well. People are scrambling to get in a new home or rental in these areas that just have burned because it's home. I mean, they might have grown up there, or perhaps their own children are growing up there. Despite the devastation, I can understand the desire to try to get back to some sort of normalcy in an area you've called home. And here's the thing, part of the scramble is that people undoubtedly understand that the rebuilding of their homes, this is going to take years. Between the cleanup, which hasn't even really started yet, rebuilding infrastructure, permitting, I'm sure, is going to be an absolute nightmare, the building and so forth, it could easily be 2, 3, or 4 years before many of these folks have their homes rebuilt. So rather than waiting, people are trying to kickstart that process of returning to normal by paying out the nose for a rental property or a new home. In fact, some people are already starting to get their insurance payouts for the destroyed homes and using that money to finance long-term rental or purchase of a new property. And this brings up another long-term issue that Californians will have to deal with: skyrocketing insurance rates. Now, before these recent fires, the state of California allowed insurance companies to tack on reinsurance on people's home policies. Now, this already was going to raise rates by 30–40%, but with the extent of the devastation from the fires and the number of just the sheer payouts insurance companies will have to make, home insurance rates here in Southern California will surely go higher. In fact, there are two components to this that I think will bear out in the coming years. Now, first, insurance rates across the nation are going to go up because of the fires. So if you live in Wisconsin, Arkansas, or even out in the middle of Vermont, you may experience increased rates as insurance companies try to cover their payouts for these fires. Now, the second thing is this: at what point do insurance companies refuse to insure a home in certain areas? Now, I'm not in the insurance industry, so I can't answer my own question, but you can't help to wonder if insurance companies will create non-insurable zones where homes have been destroyed over and over again because of fires here in Southern California. So clearly there are a lot of big issues to consider here. There's an immediate danger of fires that are still raging and the threat of more fires to come as we continue dealing with drought conditions in this area. Then there's the whole housing crunch that will only get worse as more and more people are displaced. Increasing competition for rental properties and homes for sale will make the housing crunch worse and even less affordable than before. Now, the insurance situation may be the most painful of them all. Now, rates will certainly go up, likely go up a lot, and that's a long-term expense all homeowners will have to deal with for the duration of their home buying lives. Now, my advice to you, if you're here in Southern California and you're looking for a new place to live, is this: be ready for competition. Get yourself a real estate agent that is familiar with the area where you want to buy and work closely with them on budgeting, so therefore they can work with you to devise an appropriate and competitive offers. And if you're one of the folks who have lost your home in one of these fires, my heart goes out to you. Devastating isn't a strong enough word for what you're going through, and I'll encourage you to be as patient as possible, though. And I know returning to normal, or as normal as possible, is heavy on your mind, and I don't blame you. But from a purely real estate perspective, rushing into a home by greatly overpaying for it it's seldom a good idea. Your future depends on the decisions that you make right now. So if you're eager to get back into a home, be as patient as you can. Work with a real estate agent to outline your goals and make decisions regarding your living situation that addresses both your short-term and your long-term needs and goals. Now, on a positive note, companies outside of California are stepping up to help those affected by the fire. So if you're looking for living options, friends, there is hope. Just yesterday, I heard of some amazing news from a couple companies who are clients of mine in another business that I own. A camper and trailer manufacturer in Oregon called Cube Series and a conversion van camping trailer and outfitter retailer in Texas called Better Outfitters are both offering their entire inventory to disaster victims at wholesale prices. This means a significant amount of savings, up to about $35,000 on a turnkey truck bed campers, towable trailers, and fully equipped conversion vans you can live in. It's incredible to see companies taking such compassionate actions to help those out in need. The January 2025 wildfires have profoundly impacted our community, causing loss and uncertainty for many. And as a proud veteran with nearly 30 years resident of Orange County, I'm deeply committed to supporting our neighbors during this challenging time. Now, my dedication, discipline, and extensive local knowledge are all at your service to help you navigate the evolving real estate landscape. So whether you're seeking a new home or considering to sell your property, I'm here to provide compassionate and expert guidance every step of the way. And as a realtor, my priority is to ensure that you achieve the best possible outcome. So don't hesitate to reach me at 949-726-2601. With that, I think it's time to wrap up here. Again, for those of you that are suffering because of the devastation of these fires, my thoughts and prayers are with you. Though rebuilding phase will definitely take longer than any of us want, we will rebuild just as we have many times before. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.